Welcome to the Fireside Storyteller. Today we're going to be telling a story a little bit different style than some of the other stories. This is a series that we call the Fireside Tales. These are tales that I actually tell live around the fire without being in a room and a camera and everything like that. And it has a little bit more feel of being in the fire. But because we are in front of a camera and because we are in a theater with lights and everything like that, it's a little bit different. But what I would like to do, these tales are tales that I've told my scouts and family gatherings for years. They're a lot of fun, and they have a lot of emotion, a lot of action, and a lot of everything like that. And I'm going to try to tell it as if we're around the campfire. One of the reasons I do this is I hope people would be interested in becoming storytellers themselves. In the description below, I hope you'll look at the description below. There's some information about how I can help you become a fireside storyteller for free, and there's nothing to it. It's just things that we have planned. I want you to feel like you are around a campfire. And as I tell this tale, I'm starting it as if my scouts or my family or whoever, generally scouts, are around the campfire. Young boys, maybe 12 to 14 age, 12, maybe 15, 16, some of the older boys, but generally 12 to 14 years old. So they're young and they're around the campfire. It's getting dark. You hear the hiss and the pops and the sound of the campfire, the wind in the trees. It's getting the shadows getting longer. You feel a little bit dark, and outside of the ring of the fire, you don't see anything because it's dark out there. You have a ring of the fire, and this is why it becomes so effective. So close your eyes and imagine that story as I begin to tell the witch's playground. When I was a scoutmaster in Virginia. Virginia is an interesting place. They have a lot of history, a lot of places. I remember when I lived there, they had stories of pirates. They had stories of buried treasure. They had stories of witches. You might have heard of the Salem witch trials. Yeah, well, I didn't think much about those. Those stories were just stories, right? Well, this camp trip I'm going to tell you about maybe changed my mind just a little bit. Let me first tell you about my crew. This is a small troop of boys. There was Sammy. Now, Sammy, I love Sammy. He was a great kid. He's big. We sometimes called him Samson because he was so big and strong, and he took care of the kids, but he always liked to go ahead. He's one of those, you just slow down. Not everyone is big and strong as you. That's Sammy. Then we have Joey. Now Joey, he was the little guy. This was one of his first trips. He was like barely 12, and he, the little guys, I was like that. A very, very thin bone, small kid, and maybe a little squeaky in the voice, and always talking. You know the type. That's Joey. This was Joey's first camp trip. And he was excited. And so I had to pay attention to that. Well, we got ready for the trip, and we met at this place called the Johnson Place. And the Johnson Place was up in the hill. They had an old cabin there. It was broken down and stuff, but you could go into it and stuff like that. And up above the hill, kind of like this hill that we're camping next to right now, kind of like this hill, there was this place that it was kind of above the hill was this round place, kind of a rocky knoll at the top, and above that were these formations in the rocks. We called them caves. Some of them were caves, maybe. Others were little cracks, and the boys loved to go explore things like that. Well, that's the Johnson Place, and we're going to hike up to that hill. Well, so we started and we began to follow the trail, and And it was a 10-mile hike, up, 5 miles up, 5 miles back. So it wasn't terribly long. It was a good trip for the scouting merit badge, the hiking merit badge that we were working on. And so as we began hiking up there, and we're all excited. And of course, there goes Sammy. He's up in the front. I'm in the back because I always hike in the back to make sure that the stragglers didn't get left behind. Well, who was that straggler? Of course, that was Joey. And Joey didn't have these little big long legs like Sammy did. Joey was little, and he's white, and he's whining, and it's Joey. I love Joey, but it took a little more patience than the rest. Anyway, so we're hiking up this hill, and we're as we wind back, and we have these little switchbacks. You like kind of the switchbacks that we were hiking, kind of like the hill that we were hiking today, right? As we were hiking, they asked me, why do they call this place the Witch's Playground? I said, well, about 150 years ago, there were a group of witches, and people didn't like them. They were, it's just the way it was, and they just cast them out of their town. All these witches gathered together, these witches and some men and some women. They were up, and they lived up here in the Johnson Cave area, the Johnson Farm area. But at night, all the people in the village down below, they'd hear them playing. They'd hear these strange and different sounds like this, and running, and it's frightened them to death. So finally, these people decided to go up, and they came in, and they killed all of the witches. All of them. Even their pets. Everything. That's why they call it the Witch's Playground. Well, if we get up there and we decide we're going to hike up there, we're going to do lunch on the top of the hill, maybe explore the little cabin, the ruins of the cabin, explore the hill, and then eat our lunch. We finally get up there, we explored the cabin, we were sitting up on the top of the hill, and Sammy, and he was sharp and good eye, he says, Mr. Mackley, look up there. It looks like the clouds are coming in. Sure enough, clouds are starting to roll. Dark clouds. These were clouds that you need to be aware of. You need to be frightened of. This wasn't an overcast day. This was, and we're going, oh, that wasn't in the forecast. Well, I said, okay, so what are we going to do? We start looking around. We look up, and sure enough, there are those hills, and up in the hills they have these cracks and these crevices and these caves. We said, let's go up there. Well, we weren't planning to be on a night camp, so we just had our little backpacks, and nobody had a big flashlight because that's not what we were planning to do. Except, guess who? Joey. Joey had his little, what was it? It was like a pen light, just one of these little ones, had a little tiny light. But we decided, well, that's better than nothing. So we go up there, and the wind is starting to blow, and we could see, and pretty soon we hear these little patters, and you could see the patters on the ground, the little rain spots on the ground, and we're going, let's get up there. So we finally get up into these places just as it starts pouring, and I mean, it was rain pouring, and we knew we were also going to flash floods and stuff like that we were going to have to be careful of. But we decided, okay, we'll hike up so that we're not in the cave, or not in the wash. We get in these caves, and we're sitting there, we're watching, and Sammy says, let's explore the caves. And I'm thinking, duh, we don't have any light. It's dark inside those things. But no, we decided, okay, we're going to go up there. Well, most of these were little cracks and crevices, so we'd go through the cracks and crevices, and it's nice because there's a little bit of sunlight, and of course a little bit of rain, so they didn't want to go very far in here because the rain was falling through the cracks and crevices. But so finally we found one that was a cave, and the cave was a little bit darker. They had to go through the darkness of the cave, and as we, you can smell the moldiness of the dust. It's in your, and it's kind of dark, and the only light we had was this little tiny pen light. And I said, Sam, come on back. No, that's not Sam. Sam's gonna go. Sam, get back here. Guys, look at Sam. Sam is going to keep going. We go deeper into the cave. It's now dark. It's dark as a pitch black out here. You can't see anything. except a little bit from this little light. Everybody's huddled around. And then all of a sudden, Sam stops. You can see the hair on the back of his neck and the hair on the back of my neck. Right? What is it? Is he pointing this flashlight, this little tiny flashlight? He looks, and there's a shape on the wall. It's a shape of like a man, but it's huge. It's like 8-9 feet tall. It's massive. And one of the boys said, "Is that Sasquatch?" And little Joey, "Is it a bear?" And everybody, no, it's not a bear. Sammy, what did he do? He goes closer. And as we get closer, you can see it has chains on the arms, and it's chained up, but its head is down like this. I said, "Sam, let's get out of here." Sam goes over. He reaches forward, and he touches this thing. He says, "It's chained up, it's okay." He touches this thing, and all of a sudden, one red eye opens and looks square at us, and you hear "Ah!" like this. It was worse than that. It was loud, and we're all, "Woo!" Sammy, he's running like crazy, trying to get across there. And all the other boys are tearing, and little Joey, "Ah!" He's running out of there. I'm running out of there, and we hear the like he's trying to get out of the chains and we're running as fast as we can. We get to the light. Fortunately, most of the rain was gone. We're going down here, slip sliding on this thing, and all of a sudden I look back at the cave, and sure enough, this monster, this thing was coming out, and the chains were still on, but it was broken, and he's starting to lumber after us. And I'm going, "Run, guys, run! Go, go, go!" And I'm running, and I got to be the scoutmaster. I got to stay behind. I wanted to run past those guys. I could run faster than those guys. I had better shape. Anyway, but no, I got to stay behind and keep. So Joey's going, and I said, "Guys, split up, go different directions." And sure enough, all the boys split up. Joey stays on the path, and he's going down there. And I go, "Run, okay, Joey, go, 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 run!" And I'm looking back. This monster's getting closer. He's getting closer, and I'm going, "Run, Joey, run!" Then there was a fork in the path where it was coming up. I said, "Joey, go!" And wherever direction he went, I decided to go the other direction. I slowed down, trying to get closer to keep this thing, and maybe get this thing to follow me instead of Joey. I got to protect the boys, right? And I mean, that's first foremost in my mind. So I'm going, let it get a little closer to me, and I take the left path. Joey takes the right path, and I go off there, and guess what? The monster goes up the right path chasing Joey. I stop, turn around, go across the path, get back on there. Now I'm behind the monster. The monster's catching up to Joey, and now I'm running. Joey, I'll tell you, that boy had legs you wouldn't believe. He was running faster than you can imagine. But the monster's getting closer, and he's getting closer. And finally, as it gets closer, you can see it 10, 4, 1 feet, and all of a sudden the monster reaches out and he grabs it, but he missed. Joey jumps over to the side. Yeah, Joey looks up this monster, and the monster grabs with his left hand and misses again. And then all of a sudden he grabs again, and he grabs Joey, and all of a sudden he says, "Tag, you're it." And he laughs and he falls on the ground. Wasn't that a wonderful story? That's how this became our most famous Fireside Storyteller story. And now it's yours to keep. I told you I'd talk a little bit about the storyteller tradition. Please go and look at the description below. Hit like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe to these videos. We're going to have a lot more of these. And in the description below, it talks about how I have storyteller memory guides that you can get. They're free. It shows you how to go ahead over to the website firesidestoryteller.com, and you can get these guides for free, and it tells you how to do this. And I have a couple guides, but it also has a little book that talks about how to do storytelling, how to use your voice, how to use those types of things. Please go over there and look at that. However, for today's story, catch my breath. For today's story, thank you for joining us. Hope you will like and subscribe. Join all of our stories that we tell, Fireside Stories, as well as many of the legends and Sasquatch and pirates and the ugly duck and all sorts of other storytellers. We'd love to see you again. Be strong, be courageous, and tell more stories. We'll see you later.